Why don't we jump to Stranger Things, though? Another Netflix juggernaut.
Speaking of the Hive.
Yeah, so we talked a lot about Stranger Things last year when it came out. You can check those out, soundcloud.com/nostalgiapod. Stay plugging. But season 2, much different in the fact that season 1 was, like we talked about, came out of nowhere, really, like you said, captured a moment, and it just became enormous. Like
middle of July, too. Nothing really comes out then. Except I think Mr. Robot might have been on at the time, but yeah, it caught a moment when no one else was really commanding anything. And I mean, you look at the way the internet functions and content factories exist, right? Game of Thrones every week produces multiple pieces from every culture site, multiple videos, gets so much social media buzz. If Stranger Things was a week-to-week show, I think it would be the same case, because you look at all the content people are making for this show, drags. Every episode gets talked about. I mean, I really kind of wish it was week-to-week, just because I wish everyone was on the same page with watching it, you know? A show this popular, this well-liked, it just sucks that binge watching breaks it up. You know, I've only seen 2 episodes. I mean, you've seen, I believe, 3, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Out
of 9.
I agree with you. I wish it was a week-to-week show, because the buzz around it and people talking about it and theories, it would be a lot more fun to be able to share in that. But, you know,
it's longer too, you know? I mean,
yeah.
Even look at what happened with Westworld, you know? Everyone was talking about Westworld for fucking 10 weeks. Didn't need to do that because it wasn't that great, but I wish Stranger Things could have a length of time for the tail, you know? But hence, that's Netflix doesn't care.
Yeah, that's just their model, and it's kind of crazy, because I feel like in a way it will benefit by the fact that they're just pumping out so many shows. We're gonna get so many good shows, but we're just not gonna have the I don't know, community or discussion around it that we would with these week-to-week cable shows. Which we haven't really talked as much about Mr. Robot this year, but it's been a good season so far. Yeah. So we should make some time for that next week.
Yeah, agreed. We'll talk about Thor Ragnarok as well as Mr. Robot, so catch up.
So why don't we, Stranger Things added a lot of people this year. Which additions to the cast have you liked, and which ones have you been unsure about?
Oh, so yeah, so they've added a few characters, right? Mad Max, her brother, I forget his name, the guy with the leather and the California kid.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
What's his name? Was it Richard Eisner, the doctor dude? Really heat checking. But my pick, of course, is the true hero of Lord of the Rings, Samwise Gamgee, Sean Astin.
You mean Rudy?
Fuck you, dude. Get the fuck out of here. That shit's fake. Lord of the Rings is real.
Yeah, no, it's funny because he's so dweeby, but it's like perfect for him. He's like perfectly cast, and it's so good. Yeah, but Mad Max though, through 2 episodes, I didn't like her as much as I did after the 3rd episode. I'll put it that way. But I think that she's a really great addition to the kids as a team. I don't really care about the other new additions that much, but yeah, Mad Max and what's his name, Bob?
Yeah.
All about those 2.
For sure. Yeah, I mean...
so go ahead.
So I've seen 2 episodes, you've seen 3, but I mean, one thing that done that much in season 2 for the first beginning part is that spinning its wheels, but kind of like holding your hand, being, oh yeah, this is Hawkins. This is why you like it. These are the characters you enjoy. You know, it's not taking the plot and throwing it at the wall like Westworld did every week, you know? But I don't know. Is that a good thing to you? Did you want Stranger Things to spread it out? Because I think that's what's happening. I think the Duffer Brothers and Netflix together, they know that this is a show that can go on a while, at least until these kids really age out. But more ideas, and you know, we can slow it down a little bit because we got seasons to fill. But is this a detriment to you? Because I still find it very enjoyable.
Yeah, I find the show really enjoyable. It's just a fun world to be in. One thing that slowing it down does is they allow characters like Steve to really have moments this year. Whereas last year, Steve basically played this role of douchebag who kind of comes around in the end. He really grows as a character, and you wouldn't get to have that if you had to move the plot along as quickly as it did last year. But at the same time, I just don't know how sustainable the Upside Down is as like a big bad. But it also
as the MacGuffin.
seems right. But I mean, that's something that they can figure out at the end of the season, or maybe you'll go more towards the direction of like what's going on with like the government or something like that. You could always just find another alien.
That's true. Yeah, and I think the opening scene was a cool car chase with 8. Obviously 11. It all but says that there's other people like her. So grow the world a little bit, smart. But yeah, I mean, for Ronald Reagan sign, the Terminators at the theater, and I think my favorite shot from episode 1 was at the arcade, and it's the camera facing from the arcade screen and looking at all the crew's faces as they're all like all maniac, watching Dustin play, and I thought that was a beautiful shot. But I mean, so what's your like barometer on the show? I mean, is probably still too early to really critique the season, right? But you're happy to be back.
Yeah, being 3 episodes in as compared to 2, I feel like it actually makes a pretty big difference in terms of how I'm thinking about the show critically. There's some things I've started to see which I'm kind of either questioning or feel a little bit annoyed by, and maybe not understanding 100% right now. Also, at not to spoil anything for anybody, especially you, but at the end of episode 3, it really moves the plot of the season along a bit, or at least gives it a direction a little bit more of where it's going. But
opens the pit up.
Overall, I think I saw a lot of people hating on Dustin on Twitter over the weekend, which I was surprised about. I saw people who finished it in like a day, which I mean I don't know how you could do that.
Sick.
But apparently they had nothing to do with their lives.
The show came out 14 months ago. You probably just give it a break. Watch some Mindhunter.
Exactly.
You're not like us. You're not covering it. You don't feel compelled to keep up.
Right.
No, I mean, even watching it in a whole weekend, I just can't do it. I just feel like you just don't get enough out of it. Even if I'm not saying you spread it out for 9 weeks, I'm not saying that. I'm not going to do that, but I don't know. I mean, so who's your favorite member of the core cast that returned? I mean,
11
Steve goes on quite. Yeah, I mean, she still is part of the show, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because she's so secluded right now with the way it's set up. But Maisie Williams just does not Maisie Williams. Oh my god, fucking! I was thinking about Maisie Williams because I watched a trailer for some mutant movie that she's in.
For New Mutants with Charlie Heaton.
Yes,
Jonathan Byers is in that movie too.
Sorry. Yeah, I got down a new trailer rabbit hole recently. It took me to some very strange upcoming movies, but Millie Brown, right?
Millie Bobby Brown.
Jesus Christ.
13 years old. She's 13 with over 5 million Instagram followers. It's ridiculous.
just the way that she's able to, like, we talked about this last year, but just express so much in like not really having language, and just in these situations. There's a scene in the 3rd movie where Hopper's reading her a bedtime story about a mother, and she asks him if she has a mother, and he's like, everyone has one, I just don't know where yours is. And like the way that her face just like falls apart at that moment, I was like, damn, I can't believe this kid's fucking 13, dude. Because there are like adult actors who can't do half of what she does. So I'm just drawn to her. In terms of the boys, I mean, I don't know. Will's so serious. Mike is also very serious. I guess maybe Dustin. I don't know. Steve.
Yeah, I think Dustin and what's Caleb McLaughlin's character's name?
I'm blanking.
I forgot his name. Shit. Yeah, well, those two have a great dynamic, at least in the early goings with Mad Max. I think their chemistry is really strong. But yeah, Finn Wolfhard, he's Mike. He's also kind of the rising star. He was in It, of course.
Mm-hmm.
He fired his agent because of the Weinstein stuff.
Lucas, by the way.
Lucas, yeah, there we go. But yeah, I mean, so I liked Joe Carey, Steve Harrington last season, and the fact that he makes, a more has more character growth this season. So I've been told. I'm happy to see that. Also, shout out the dude's hair; like, it's just majestic.
Amazing. It got better after last season, so I don't know how that happened. What do you think about Mike's sister Nancy?
Yeah, good question. So I think the whole love triangle with Jonathan, Steve, and Nancy's kind of lame.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought that was some first season shit. We really got to do that, but I think Nancy could use more development. It just seems like they're retconning in this Barb grief, which is fine.
Yes.
I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I don't know.
Dude.
I wish there was more to her character than her relationships. I'm not saying she's a weak female character, but because she's not, she wasn't involved in the plot a whole lot in the beginning until she like went into the Upside Down and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I would like her character to be built up a little more.
Yeah, this Barb grief is so annoying. Obviously, it's pulling towards something a little bit bigger in some way, but it's just like you didn't give a fuck about Barb after she passed away, like right after last season, and then now all of a sudden you're heartbroken about it. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, I wonder how much of this is just that Barb was such a phenomenon last year that the Duffer Brothers kind of decided to go for this to maybe pad out the season.
Could be.
Who knows? But yeah, we'll see. Again, we've only seen the beginning. But
yeah, the last point I think I wanted to make is I saw a lot of people like critically saying that this season didn't live up to season one or wasn't as good. I mean, obviously we haven't watched the whole thing, so it's hard for us to say, but it just feels like unfair criticism based on what season one was and what it became compared to how this season was talked about and
exactly. You went from having zero expectations to the highest expectations in one season.
Exactly.
It's impossible to meet that hype.
Yeah. So
just like Andre 3000.
So anyone that's panning the show or this season of the show, which I don't know if anyone's like totally panning it, but just saying it's not as good. Just like keep your criticism in check.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a show that's unabashedly influenced by the 80s. John Carpenter, Steven Spielberg, like that's the point. That's what makes it fun. It's not that hard. It's not even like Mindhunter. You just watch the show, have a good time.